we'll see how they're going to be able to do. Bang Bang, another team that really has been dodging away from us a little bit. We got a lot of sad boys, a lot of bun in most of our blocks thus far. So I'm going to be interested to call these two teams and see how they're going to be able to do. As we are already through the first draft, it is looking like Bang Bang busting out the X Finny now, while Demons RAAAAHHH will be on the Imi Estelle Asher.
Two pretty interesting team comps. X, a character that wants to scale, and now Infinity, while they do have some scaling potential, I don't feel like it's as scary as something like an Era, which is something I feel like we see quite often on this map. Not banned out here, but taking a look at these starting awakenings of Glass Cannon and Adrenaline Rush, we see a lot of Glass Cannon, except for on Kainoob and Snake, but hold the phone. We've got Kainoob and Snake on Big Boy Summer. It's a ping check. Okay.
It's just a ping check. Okay, we're good. We're all good. I was gonna say we're in the match in Spectate. I was like looking there and I like see that we're still on camera, but
yeah,
there's Omega Strikers going on my screen, so a little bit of a jump scare there. We're good though. Match has not started yet. Match will be starting here before too long. Hopefully that ping check went not too bad and everybody will be geared up to go.
I know there's a little bit of contention between Denver, Dallas, which server's good, which server's bad, which one is consistently good, which one's consistently inconsistent. But if the ping check looks good here, I think we will be getting into this game. That said, that Imi Estelle Asher comp, I feel like that seems like a very tried and true. We know these characters are good. We know they're strong on this map. We have no reason to go out of our way to overcomplicate things on the side of Demons RAAAAHH. However, for the side of Bang Bang, they've got those really interesting picks of the Finny and now on the defensive side for the midfield goalie duo feels very reminiscent of Bun Bun Bonanza. And then finally, that X forward. We've seen X do a lot of good work in the previous series, so we'll have to see if that X can really come shine through here. When you get into those pockets, it can be quite difficult to deal with that X Maximus, but perhaps you won't be able to get big on them if with this Finny now, you just can't keep it in the hands of that X, but we'll just have to see how it pans out. I think Adrenaline Rush is going to be a big part of this game because either you're going to be taking Adrenaline Rush and looking for quick kills, refresh those cooldowns, or you're going to be taking that Glass Cannon to try to avoid those quick kills and get that scaling later into the round and really get that power and speed going your way, especially on the side of the goalies to really harass the enemy team and keep things difficult. That said, we did have a couple players swap out of this lobby, so we are just still getting things set up, it looks like. Gordo, between these two teams, how are you feeling about the picks so far? I feel like one team is pretty traditional, and the other definitely has some interesting picks.
Yeah, I'm going to be real curious to see. I mean, Drew has got to be a big focus for me coming into this first match. He's going to be piloting the X. They give him the first pick, and it's going to be his first playoffs match, right? This is our rookie of the season. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he does under some of the brighter lights as we start to kick off the North American Strikers League playoffs, right? These are your most influential matches of the season by a lot, right? You play 9 best-of-3s throughout the regular season, and none of them particularly matter more than any others, but then you get maybe as few as 2 best-of-3s in the playoffs, and that's your whole season right there, and that's how people are going to remember how this past season went. You know, wait until season 5, season 6, nobody's going to remember who was second in the regular season nearly as much as they're going to remember who made it to finals weekend, who was competing in some of those last couple of series. So it's a big deal to be able to come on up and be able to perform when it matters right here, right now, up against a team like Demons RAAAAHH. So going to be a lot of pressure on these Bang Bang guys, and want to see how they're going to be able to execute on this composition in particular, and with a special focus towards Drew.
Very, very true what you have said so far. But one thing I would like to make a point of is, even though this is the big stage, the spotlight's on you, the curtain rises. At the end of the day, it's just another game of Omega Strikers. The only game that matters is the one you're currently in. Doesn't matter if it doesn't go great right away. You have time to figure things out. But if we see another performance like Sad Boys put on, perhaps they will not have that time, and the exit stage left will be quite expedited. That said, it looks like we're finally getting into this, and with a fresh game on our hands, a fresh team facing off against veterans, we will have to see how this goes. Let's take a look at these starting awakenings here. We've got that Adrenaline Rush on the X and Glass Cannons on the on the rest of the team. However, Kainoob and Snake both going for that Adrenaline Rush, and Snake on the Magnetized Souls Asher. I think that's an interesting pick here, as a lot of the time you are kind of patrolling around that black hole. Almost getting a KO onto Drew there could have been a very strong start to this game, but for now, it takes a few more resources, but they do manage to get it done. Almost losing a barrier is some hubris, but Fudgy Waffles taking a ton of damage here. It's going to be tough to survive in this power play when this is the start to your game.
Absolutely here, Drew getting taken out of the map really early, and they end up losing both barriers for it. He's back out here now, but still going to be at that level 1 for a little bit longer too. So nice little extended power play here for Demons as they look to take themselves the early lead, but a nice angle does find that second barrier. Drew going into the Maximus as soon as he takes 2 is already staggered, but is getting in there, trying to disrupt all 3 members of the Demons all at the same time. Resets up through from Grimella, who has access to the flip. Drew dashes forward, but can't quite find his way on towards the barrier, can't quite find his way on towards the core. Snake going to be taken into the stagger now. Drew gets the pass, doesn't connect with it. That could have been the score if he had sent it forward. Instead, Snake gets control and sends it past Fudgy. First point to Demons RAAAAHH.
Tough start to this game. I feel like that mention of the spotlight that you had might be coming to fruition here, as we do see a little bit of a hiccup on that passing play with the core flip that looked almost certainly like a goal. But that said, a couple emotes coming out from Goomy. It seems like they're having a good time here, even if a couple mistakes are made. But the mistake made is the positioning of the now as they go to the wayside here and are down. It is now a power play, but all the barriers are up. You should have time to survive this.
Absolutely should. There is going to be the clear out coming on across. Grimella is now back out onto the field. Snake trying to clear things back out in his own right. Will take quite a fair bit of damage there. Back into the stagger on the Asher. Triple take nearly takes him back into the goal. Now Drew stepping up to see if he can finish it. Loses a lot of stagger for it, though. The elusives are traded back and forth. Trying to stay alive here is Drew, but losing quite a bit of stagger for it. Punches Snake back away, looking to finish him off, keeping him pinned up towards the top. There's the bell ringer, and there's a KO going on over to Drew as he's stealing away some orbs over on the other side in the same moment. Trying to get that pass on over. Grimella going to be able to receive it, going to be able to find the second barrier. Going to look to challenge for the second goal. They get it. Pushed on through, sends it back into the black hole, and gets it 1-1, tied on up.
Guess it's going to look like first point was just a fluke, as Drew showing that they can get it done when it matters. Evens things up here and shows that they even had a good passing play there to get that barrier. They don't have to just strike it through people. They can strike it around and strike it where it needs to go. That said, right now, it's a tough spot between both barriers. Feels almost reminiscent of Oni Village, where sometimes it's easier to get double barrier than it is to just lose the last one. So you got to be careful here. But with both topside barriers being all that remains, Snake is going to have to be careful, as they might be the next one on the chopping block.
Yeah, there's going to be the flip coming on through from Grimella, just trying to push Snake back away, who has been surviving for a very long time in this staggered state throughout this entire game. It's been very tough to put this guy out of the map, and they've been dedicating quite a few resources to it. Fudgy now getting pressured here by Kainoob, going to feel obligated to use that flip to get it cleared back out, but Kainoob brings it back on over, losing some stagger here in the one-on-one with Grimella. Will be able to nearly take them out. Another glitch pop connects there out of Goomy. Keeps Grimella on the back foot. Drew dribbling it off the bottom, looking to take it back up towards this barrier. Does send it through and stops the sentry turret from getting the block. That will be able to open on up the goal for the team. Drew now with the bell ringer, not quite able to find it on towards that core. And Kainoob going to keep resetting up towards the top, trying to get it over into the hands of Snake. A KO comes on across. That's actually the Now who ends up falling. And a power play available for Demons RAAAAHH as they look to take it into the goal. A counter KO, though, found. No more Asher available here for the side of Demons RAAAAHH. Drew nearly sends it to the goal, can't quite find it. Fudgy trying to send it back out with a big finish, won't be able to do so. And Grimella at risk of going down a second time. Drew is approaching, he's got access to the flip. Can't send it on through, can't find a good angle to use the power surge either. Stepping on forward, does get the flip, does get it on across, doesn't take for the goal. And Kainoob will be able to stay strong and block it alongside Goomy. No chance to score there for Demons.
Difficulty scoring here, but that barrier does have to go down eventually. Drew trying to make their way into the net, but it finally does fall. Open nets, both sides.
Yeah, Kainoob resetting there with the piercing shot. Can't send it into the goal yet, but the pass back and forth between him and Snake has been effective thus far. There's the Crystal Thorns. They wait it out. They will be able to clear yet again, but the piercing shot from Kainoob will send it on through. The former perennial MVP putting himself on the board with Demons RAAAAHH.
Perhaps a bit of greed there by Fudgy Waffles, recognizing that the flip was coming up soon. Wanted to hold on to that, perhaps gets a power play going later down the line, or maybe not even a power play. Just having that flip available is quite a comfortable zone. That said, that point is to the wayside, and now so is that top barrier for both sides, depending on whose perspective you're looking at. That said, Grimella has a flip of their own, and Drew is just eating flips left and right. There is chaos in the enemy net.
So Grimella and Snake, the only ones with any energy left after all of that is said and done. See what they're going to be able to do to try to reset for it. Snake and Grimella both up towards the top. So much damage coming out onto Grimella, and they're immediately forced to retreat, not being able to get much done off of that core flip. Back on up towards the top, and Grimella not quite going to be able to keep control over it, taking another big chunk of damage out of Kainoob and Goomy. Triple take out of Fudgy Waffles, trying to get it back into Drew's hands, who is still stacking up that energy, but gets KO'd off the bottom. Goomy finds him with the glitch pop and creates the power play for Demons RAAAAHH.
Power play online, but it's power play that's going against them as now this barrier looking dangerous, but Drew is back to help on the defense.
Still holding on for now. The respawn has come on across, back to 3-on-3. Snake taking a shot up towards the top, not going to be able to find it. Kainoob going to be the one who takes most of the damage now, as Drew using that Maximus finds the KO. They get the second barrier, and now it's a power play for Bang Bang as they look to try to close out and take themselves back to the tie. And they get us to a point number 5 here in the very first set. Find out here, Grimella still taking a ton of damage, going to be able to jump away with the lifeline, gets it reset back on over towards the goal. Grimella takes another shot, fended back away. Drew sends it in again. The rebound won't be able to be found this time. They will be able to find a KO. They will be able to find a clear, and they will give it to Snake to close out set number 1.
Snake fighting an angle around Fudgy with that hit stun to displace them. Good use of that primary. You don't always have to hit the core. Sometimes you just got to hit the goalie to get them out of the way. And with that, we will have Kainoob being the MVP of the round, getting first pick in this draft. Now, with that adrenaline rush, I have to wonder if they're going to look for something like that 1-2 punch to start putting extra pressure on, or whether or not it'll just be the rapid fire here. A good overall value and can play into that KO game. But now Fudgy's going to be quite a bit faster, and we've seen Goomy do at least one dash punch-esque combo with that cyber swipe into the glitch pop. So now with this 1-2 punch, it's going to be even more deadly around those sides where oftentimes you have to play. But Drew getting some stagger to help survive, and then finally Snake doing the same. Drew, however, getting some size with that stagger. We've seen how strong size can be on these characters, especially these melee brawlers. So we'll have to see whether or not that's enough to give them a little bit extra scoring pressure to turn things around, or whether or not, just like the first barrier, they will continue to fall.
Definitely. Ooh, another nicely angled piercing shot from Kainoob will be able to find its way on towards that barrier. And there will be able to get the open goal for the team. Grimella falling back, trying to get it over to Fudgy, gets taken down by the piercing shot, and a power play now available for the Demons as they look to take themselves back into control. Triple take connects on a Kainoob down there, look to see if they are able to capitalize on it, but they sneak it past Fudgy. Snake not quite able to get it with the rush forward, but it doesn't matter. It's a rebound, it's a shot down towards the bottom, a bounce off the back wall, and a take into the goal.
A little bit of a hiccup there on that scoring attempt. We've seen one from Drew and now one from Snake, so a bit even there. That said, it does finally fall, and we do get on to the next point. That said, Drew is going to need the next orb that spawns, because they're looking quite low, but they are staying in the fray, recognizing that sometimes the safest place is just in the middle of the stage, but when so many resources get burned on you, it's hard to stay alive.
Goomy takes him out yet again here, just constantly able to output the damage on this Aimi, one of his specialties, and really doing a great job of it so far. Already taking the lead in this first round. Drew back out onto the map, and the damage coming on through from Snake is tough to deal with over on the defense. Fudgy going to get pushed back away by that path splitter, trying to clear it back on out to the team. There's going to be the sentry turret coming out of Goomy as they keep the pressure on towards the barrier. They take the barrier, and they take the life of the goalie. Drew trying to clear things out on the other side. Will be able to find a KO. Grimella going to have to help out on the defense now to make sure that they're able to hold on to this point. Kainoob nearly sends it in with the Rose Warp. Another rotation with the piercing shot, but Grimella sends them both away and hangs on while Fudgy is able to respawn in time. A nicely placed glitch pop, not going to be enough to clear things out. Drew is able to find that second barrier and give a scoring opportunity now over to the side of Bang Bang. Flip comes out of Goomy. He doesn't take the shot, just holds on to it, buys the time, finds the KO. It's back to Snake, and it's back in the goal.
Grimella looking like a defensive mastermind that round, but it does eventually fall. That said, I think one thing I'm noticing here is, to put it in the most hyperbolic sense, Snake was standing at the very ledge staggered saying, hey, come get me, I know you want to come punch me. But they're baiting for these edge kills so consistently, just like that. Drew almost goes down with that 1-2 punch onto Goomy, and just the overall value that Estelle can get on those piercing shots from very far away. They're setting up for these edge kills, and they aren't even edge cases anymore. They are just consistent attempts. It's just a matter of how much knockback they can get in future drafts.
Yeah, and you've got to be so disciplined playing up against this Demons RAAAAHH team. You let Snake get a breakaway, take control of the core for even an instant, and we've seen on these last couple of points, he'll just score it regardless of what you've been able to put together throughout the entirety of the round on the other side. Drew, trying to take it down towards the bottom, has already found that bottom barrier, but needs to be able to finish off the job on the other side. Snake going to be able to take it in towards that barrier on the bottom. Going to look for the top. Can't find it yet. Grimella dribbling back at midfield, getting it back over into the hands of Drew as they look to pressure on towards the barrier yet again. A nice bell ringer out of Drew. Will pump out some damage into Kainoob and Snake. So far, not enough to get any lasting damage, although I may have spoken too soon. Going to be low on Stagger now. Staggered fully as Drew trying to hunt them down and finish off the job. Going to be able to force the energy burst out, and that's going to be some resources down. But the rest of the team collapses, and they take Drew right off the map. Power play back available for Demons RAAAAHH. Kainoob taking control back at midfield, trying to get it back over to Snake. Pass back to Goomy. And this three-pronged attack going to be tough to deal with only two members. They do get the flip. They do get the clear out. They find it onto the barrier, but it's another KO for the Demons. They will not let three members of Bang Bang stand.
Stand as you must against this team. You will need a whole army to deal with what they are doing to you. The pressure's so heavily mounting. You've got to be careful.
Really do here. Rotation back on through, gets it past the sentry turret. That make things a little tough for Goomy, and it will be enough for Bang Bang to find their first goal of set number 2.
Ooh, first goal, but you're going to need a lot more to reverse this game into your favor. That said,
sure do.
I feel like Fudgy Waffles is putting on a good Lilybud impression, showing both offense and defensive mastery on this Finny, doing a great job both for trying to clear through this Asher, who can be so tough to deal with once she gets in front of you. But it just goes to show that these players do, in some ways, I feel, learn from each other and are able to emulate play from other teams just from playing against them so much, whether it's the scrims or just the actual season itself.
Yeah,
that said, though, they've got to find the offense here.
Yeah, a little bit of a disconnect there from Bang Bang. At least that's what it looked like to me. Was difficult to actually be able to get it on through as the big finish comes out across as soon as Drew is dashing forward. They kind of desync the core there a little bit, and at the end of the day, Drew is going to end up falling on down. Fudgy falling back up towards the top, and there's going to be, just a little bit of shots coming through from Kainoob and Goomy, maybe going in the wrong direction there, as does end up finding that second barrier. Snake goes in for the mix-up. Fudgy gonna be able to block it. What a move there, coming up with the core flip to be able to send it back away, hanging on for time, but not enough. Kainoob gets it through with the Crystal Thorns.
That mix-up by Snake was terrifying. I saw the dash down and thought it was a misinput, but then it just goes right back up. Really just showing quick reactions there, able to recognize when they are hitting the core so that they can redirect it with that strike before it gets out of their reach. Good play by them and a good collapse by the team. Kainoob helping secure that goal. That said, it's actually going to be Goomy who gets first pick in this draft, and it is explosive entrance that they choose. Now with that eject button, they're going to have a lot of range on that secondary and even more kill pressure with it. That said, the catalyst going to Estelle here is a ton of energy that you're now going to have to deal with and is going to make them even harder to kill. Finally, we have Asher picking team player, I guess, with that situation with the draft that was available to them. They didn't really have much options, but that said, Drew getting some stinger action going on is going to be a lot more damage, and with the help of Grimella getting that bulk up, that's going to be more damage as well as more stagger to stay alive. So I think this draft has some definitely interesting pickups, but I think Kainoob is going to be the player to watch here with that catalyst to see what they can make of it.
Absolutely here. Snake looking to hold on to it on the top side, get it past Grimella here, but struggling to be able to do so. Kainoob back at midfield, trying to get it back past Fudgy, but Been really good at being able to find these clears so far. The big finish carries the core over to the other side, not quite able to get the detonate to launch it back out across. Drew gets right in the middle of 3 and is going to be able to take that barrier, but a KO was found by Snake on the opposite side, and a power play coming back on over to Demons RAAAAHH. Kainoob getting beaten up by the X-Maximus of Drew on the other side, trying to keep him out of the play, so that Fudgy only has to deal with Snake and Goomy. Dribbles it back on over towards the black hole, going to be able to create some space. Glitch Pop sends it back up towards the top. It's going to be sent into the barrier. They will be able to open up the goal for their side. Flip comes across from Kainoob. Will be blocked back away. Fudgy's still got to hold on to this. Sends it back down to the bottom. It's in Drew's hands now. Will be flipped back away by Goomy, and they will be able to hold on to the goal for the time being. Kainoob gets it back into his hands. Moving up, Goomy from the top rope comes on down and is able to take it into the goal.
Making great use of that extra dash range. You know, it was funny. You said earlier how Drew was making it so that Fudgy only had to deal with Goomy and Snake, and in my mind I was like, okay, you know, just only Goomy and Snake.
Listen,
you know,
it's as best as you can hope for in the power play situation. You're in a 3v2.
Oh, but another power play strikes, as that is the Asher who goes down. That's going to be one less player on the pitch and one less barrier for their team. As now this power play coming to its close, we'll have to see if Kainoob is next and if another one can be formed.
I mean, we have not gone beyond 3 sets all day, so let's see if the Bang Bang can take us to that legendary set number 4. Spoken of only in myth, Drew in the Maximus goes in, just pops the flip, trying to keep Goomy at the bay. Will be taken down to just a sliver of stagger. Drew still trying to hunt him down. They're going to connect. It's Grimella taking the shot with the primary and able to create themselves the opportunity. No goalie here on the opposite side. They really need to get in towards this barrier, but Kainoob and Snake doing a great job of holding things down from now. Fending it back away. Fudgy able to come back on through, but still, even with the misdirect, not going to be able to find it. The flip comes on across. Snake trying to stuff it. Not going to be able to do so with the barrier beam. Grimella brawling with them now in the top, trying to get that core back over into Drew's hands. Will get cleared out towards the bottom, but Fudgy going to be able to send it back over. Another KO is found by Grimella on the other side. The black hole doing the best that it can, but won't be enough to take out anybody. Lifeline comes back on across, and Drew dribbling it, sending it up towards the barrier, but Goomy will not let this one go.
It's so back and forth here. Grimella has this flip available, but no opportunity to use it. Kainoob is going to need to find some orbs to stay alive in the face of this X. The flip comes out. Grimella has nothing left to keep them alive. Let's see which goes first, the core or them.
Yeah, finally they do find that top barrier. Demons was holding out of that for so long, but now a real scoring opportunity presenting itself. There's the big finish, not quite getting it into the hands of Drew. Bounce off the bottom, Kainoob low on stagger. There's going to be the bell ringer, trying to push it past Goomy, able to get it back into the sentry turret to clear things out yet again. Drew still being fended off by Kainoob, trying to keep him away. The flip will be able to put Kainoob in the dirt. Grimella ready to receive at the bottom. Finally, Bang Bang are able to capitalize on what they've built and get themselves a point.
Big point here. So much back and forth, and you come out as the victor. That's got to be good for the mental. It shows that even in these long points where there's so much that you have to deal with, so many resources burned, so many KOs, you have the ability to stay calm and get yourself back into the lead. That said, it's no lead yet. It's just evened up. And with the sets being so, the disparity between the sets here, it's difficult to find the leverage that you need, especially when another KO is found, as well as both barriers.
What a move by Goomy there, finding the KO and both barriers all in one swoop, and Kainoob going to be there to finish it off 2-1. Demons RAAAAHH on game point.
Game point, some imprisonment there by that path splitter certainly opened up a path for the team to score the point. That said, this point is potentially the last one in this game. You got to find a new angle if you're the side of Bang Bang to take on these veterans. That said, some good angles. Get it around Drew's masterful offense. It seems like Drew hasn't really had the opportunity to get everything that they want going in this game. But that said, with them being off the pitch, it seems like it will continue to be so until they find a new answer.
Absolutely, and being down on members is going to be a tough position here for Bang Bang, trying to hang on in game number 1 and see if they can take this at least to a set number 4. But looking really dire here as they did lose both their barriers. They will be able to take both on the other side. There's the triple take, trying to push for some more. Drew in the Maximus, but Snake now with a chance, passes it back to Goomy, gets it back on over to Snake. Grimella now trying to disrupt this passing play wherever they can, and Drew sneaks it through 2-2, and a chance to keep this game going for Bang Bang.
I feel like we're seeing a lot of these back passes from Snake, recognizing that the 1v2 situation when they aren't in position isn't exactly what they want. But I feel like these back passes also kill a lot of the momentum that they have, so they're going to have to find another way to make it happen. But it seems like the barriers being both down, it looks like it might be over quite soon.
The number of double barrier plays. Goomy just closes it out there. Cyber swipe, perfectly timed. Takes it past Fudgy and will make this a 3-0 for Demons RAAAAHH.
Yet another dominant performance on the pitch that we see. But that said, some very close rounds and some very good gameplay from both sides. However, Demons RAAAAHH really trying to get that legacy back to the truth. As now 9 goals for their side, only 4 for the enemy. These redirects by Kainoob and Fudgy, though, extremely high in this game. 1 for the midfielder, 1 for the goalie. That is a bit telling of how the game went. That said, both brawlers doing an excellent job and both midfielders doing that which they can. That said, Demons RAAAAHH just came out on top this game. As we get into the next one, it looks like, I believe, if I look at the graphic correctly, that's going to be Demon Deus as the next map. We saw how a Game 2 Demon Deus went previously. We'll have to see if it follows suit this one, or whether or not this game will be a bit of a different story.
We will have to see. I mean, looking at these post-game stats, so we don't have the replays today, I just want to highlight Goomy and the amount of damage and KOs this guy has put together on the IME. I mean, this is one of the most combat-focused goalies in the league, but easily the most brawling of all the goalies in the league. And he puts up these numbers every season, but this season has been particularly ridiculous. I was looking at all the stats while doing my All-Pro voting, and so in Season 3, I highlighted the same thing about Goomy. He had the most damage of all goalies and the most KOs of all goalies per 10 minutes by such a large margin. And now this season, you already caught up to Season 3 Goomy's numbers, and Goomy still just blows him out of the water, 50% higher than even that. He's just setting new standards each and every season on how much he can get involved in the combat department. Helps out that he plays a lot of Ice and IME as well, but I think this game showed that so much. He did so much there.
Look, sometimes you got to get active, especially against these teams where when you have something like that eject button, getting active means turning a 2v2 offense into a 2v3 offense, a 2v3 defense rather, that they have to deal with as you suffocate them. And we've seen there that even at the end, just that cyber swipe, it was from all the way downtown, and it manages to get a goal when the core seemed to, like, it was honestly pretty in a safe spot. It was in the hands of the goalie, ready to figure out where the best redirect was. And then suddenly you have an IME in your face, clawing your eyes out. So that just goes to show how much these players can make of what is available to them. That said, we got to get on to this next game, and we are waiting for the picks and bans to come out. So I know the stream has a little bit of delay for us, but here it is. We're getting into it now. We see Now as the ban for Demons RAAAAHH and Vice as the ban for Bang Bang, with X being a quick pickup in the first slot. We see these starting awakenings. It makes sense that X would be a good pickup with that bulk up. However, Vice, Queen of Damage, being gone from this means it's going to be hard to contest that scaling from the X. You're going to need a bit of a silver bullet if you want to deal with that scaling, whether it's taking away the other picks that would be good with him, or just finding a new route around what could be a very deadly pickup.
Absolutely, and this is Bang Bang's map pick, so we'll see if they're going to be able to show us a little bit more here. We have had 3-3-0 matches today, by the way, Dendar. I want to get a little bit more out of my NASL playoffs, I'm not going to lie. So let's see if these teams can keep it close and can challenge one another as we maybe get a little bit deeper into game number 2. Demons RAAAAHH going to snatch up that X. There's going to be the Era Estelle for Bang Bang to kick things off.
Wait a minute, you said Era Estelle. That's 2 midfielder picks.
It is.
We have, I believe, seen Fudgy Waffles play the Era goalie before. And while it may not be my personal favorite pick, not necessarily from their hands, just in general in this game, I do think that if they're taking the Era away to deny that X, you really need a brawler who can make the most of that Era. And I believe last time we saw this, we saw it with a double brawler setup, similar to what you would see on Night Market. But that said, with the Estelle pickup here, I'm almost curious if the Estelle is the goalie. I believe we've also seen Fudgy Waffles play Estelle goalie in the past. At least I've seen it in my games. But we'll have to see with that Asher pickup. One of these two is going to be the goalie. I'm not sure which one I like better. But Estelle not having that iron wall defense can make it quite difficult on this map, but that also means they're going to have a lot of opportunities to try to snipe away these barriers and chip away at the defense. But when you're going against X, Finny, and Imi, that Finny damage, we've seen it work well with X in the past, and Imi with that Firewall Sentry really able to suffocate these pockets on this map and force it behind the lock, which is exactly where you want to be. I'm curious though whether this is the Imi goalie or the Finny goalie, because Finny midfield, I believe we've seen on this map before, and it can actually be quite good with those secondaries having the range that it does, and the ultimate being as volatile on the barrier as it is. I'm curious to see which team comes out here. Just from the eye test, Gordo, do you have one that you really like over the other, or is there a bit of variance between the two that you're not really sure how it's going to pan out?
I mean, for Demons RAAAAHH, I would be surprised to see them run the Finny and the goalie. It's always been... Goomy's just so much more of an IME player. I think almost more so than most players in the league. Kind of just keeps it to a tight pool of characters, mostly the IME, mostly the Vice. For Bang Bang, I would assume it's going to be the Era goalie. I mean, I've been wrong about things in the past, but I do know that Fudgy's busted that one out before, and I think it'd just be a little bit more likely to come on through here. And you just want to have that midfield Estelle, I think, more than anything. I feel like Era's, fallen out of favor a lot recently. Gotten to see a little bit more comeback from it today, as looks like we're going to be out of there and hopefully getting back to the game before too long. But my point remains the same.
And a good point it is. That said, we are just waiting for the point to begin as we go back to the line. Oh, I see. We are having Kainoob swap to goalie here. And now Goomy is going to be in the midfield. This is interesting because this takes this draft and turns it on its head a little bit, because these picks that we weren't really sure where they were going before, now we really aren't sure where they are going. Like you said, we do have these players that have these comfort picks. But that said, we're going to have to see if those comfort picks can overcome the discomfort of having a different player play goalie.
I mean, listen, what I always say when I'm describing Goomy is that he plays like he's another midfielder. This is a little more literal than that has ever been taken before, as he is actually swapping to midfield now, as Kainoob going to be holding it down in the goal. I assume this means that it will take exactly what I said, hold it true for the player names, but swap it up for the positions. I now assume it's going to be Finny in the goalie and Imi coming out at midfield, but we will see. That is what they're hovering.
It looks like you will be correct, and a good read by you. That said, I feel like when you are up a point in, not the game, but in this series for winner semis, I think this is the time where if you're going to try something cheeky, you have that leeway to do so. But let us hope that you are not punished for that hubris, or whether or not this is actually a pick that we could see later down the line in another series. That said, we're getting into it. Let's take a look at these starting awakenings here. It's going to be bulk up across the board. Magnetized Souls onto Grimella. We're seeing a lot of this today, whereas previously I feel like we would have never seen it. Magnetized Souls onto Snake as well. And then finally, Drew, recognizing that damage has been rampant, is taking that Vicious Vambrace to try and stay alive. I think that's a good pickup here. But a lot of Magnetized Souls in the last few games. I'm interested to see what that is about and whether or not that works out for them.
Yeah, we will see here. There's going to be Snake brawling up on towards the bottom. We'll be looking for a little bit extra. Now coming on through, there's the big finish coming on across from Kainoob. Trying to send it on across, another big bell ringer out of Snake. Trying to show Drew how it's done here, but Drew, a quick little breakaway, going to see if he can take it in towards the goal. And maybe can. Really great positioning there on the clear from Fudgy, but Drew not quite able to capitalize there. There were two members in front of him, was trying to get the read, I think, to be able to get that strike back on towards the other side. Now the flip out of Snake going to be able to put it behind the lock and be able to get them into a position to score. There's the big finish, nearly sends it through, blocked away by Fudgy, and Drew sneaks it between Goomy and Kainoob during the power play and takes the first point for Bang Bang.
Sneaking it through, but you have to wonder whether or not that was just a little bit of miscommunication there, that there was that flip available, or whether or not that is just a sign that perhaps this goalie swap was not where you want it to be. That said, it is just the first point, and they did lose both their barriers pretty quickly and almost had a turnaround regardless. That said, Snake is on the move,
wow,
and Grimella is moving out of the way of that core, and it is going in.
Just broke their ankles there. Both Fudgy and Grimella start juking up top. They thought for sure Snake was going to be taking that shot up towards the top, and instead does go right into the bottom And that'll tie us right back up. Demons RAAAAHH wasting no time and looking to keep that one going. Drew trying to clear things out towards the top. Missing the barrier beam there, but does have access to the flip as necessary. Goomy getting himself into a good position, though, and Snake just bouncing it off the back, finding a KO, too, all at the same time. Great position here now for Demons. Snake trying to get it past Fudgy. Fudgy able to clear it out yet again, but Kainoob and Goomy are approaching towards the bottom. They will actually be able to find a KO there, though, and now the respawn has come on through. Maybe a chance for a comeback here from Bang Bang on the point. Really great placement, though, on that misdirect. Kainoob going to be able to send it back on through. Snake is now respawned. Grimella trying to get some work done on towards those barriers, but Goomy advances forward with the cyber swipe, and he is ready, cutting them off with the sentry turret and taking the point for Demons RAAAAHH.
Gordo, I've taken notice that the Demons RAAAAHH goalie was in the enemy net. If we continue to see offense like that without eject button, it could either be quite good as it was just there, or it could potentially be their downfall later down the line. But that said, it is actually Goomy who will go down with a quick KO found and a quick barrier as well. That's a Kainoob on the move with that flip available, and the barrier seemingly goes down to nothing, and with this flip
oh my,
up, the goal goes in. These rounds are going kind of fast, but at the same time, they're a bit chaotic, Gordo.
Absolutely, and I mean, that's just what we see out of Demons RAAAAHH all the time. I think they're really a team, more than anybody else, who really uses all three players on offense, with or without that eject button, like you were saying, and going to be all the more emphasized here with Kainoob in the arc. Getting into this draft here, extra special, going to get snapped up. That's the reward.
I think on this map in particular, that is quite the bounty to receive. That said, you're now going to have Drew with quick strikes available to have to contest, but it's interesting because that leaves Stagger up for Snake to pick up. That's going to be a double Stagger setup there. We've got the Era goalie picking up the Unstoppable. That's going to be quite nice for dealing with those bull rushes or things like the X Maximus punches. But at the same time, you've also got Grimella now picking up aerials. That's going to be a lot of extra pressure. Ooh. Just like that, they find a kill with that extra range and manage to set up a power play for their team as the barrier goes down.
Yeah, nicely angled there with the Bewitching Beam. Going to be able to take the second barrier and going to be able to open things up here for the side of Bang Bang as they look to get themselves a little bit more footing in this game number 2 and in this series. KO found by Drew on the top side. That's a 4 KO streak for him. And Grimella resets with the Crystal Thorns, taking it home and putting Bang Bang on the board first again.
That seems like quite the difficult goal to save if you're a Finny. Those Crystal Thorns plus the dash up to cover, you really just don't have the tools to deal with that swath of abilities. That said, we're on to the next point, and Drew is looking for another kill, does not find it. Snake doing some bullying and retaliation, but that's going to be a good resource burned on that X Maximus. Not going to have that to score, but will have this flip available to take the barrier, but they lose one of their own in trade.
Yep, and there's going to be the bounce off the bottom. Not what they were hoping for, as it ends up taking both barriers. It's open goals for both sides now. Fudgy stepping on up, looking to clear it out with the Bewitching Beam. Gets it back up to Drew and Grimella. Grimella taking control with the Rose Warp. It sneaks past him on the top side, though. Now Fudgy going to have to fall back on defense, sending it straight forward, trying to get it into Grimella's hands. Drew making the big run across the entire map. Snake going to be able to find the KO, making a double as Snake takes 2 out, and Fudgy is left to defend 1 versus 3. Bewitching Beam going to try to clear it out. Snake just sitting here, just waiting, just throwing out strikes, and nobody can stop them. Fudgy Waffles will be able to push it through, or Fudgy Waffles won't be able to stop it, rather, from being pushed through by Kainoob, and that's going to be 1-1.
It was getting a little bit goofy there, but they do manage to secure the point regardless. That said, if they continue to have fun times like that, perhaps that could be leading to trouble later down the line. We'll have to see if that could hit to just them having fun, or whether or not that's a sign that there's a little bit of miscommunication. But with this barrier being down, I feel like there's no miscommunication, just raw offense here.
Yeah, and another really early double barrier coming on across for Demons RAAAAHH. You're going to need to be able to hold on to those for longer if you are Fudgy Waffles and Bang Bang on the defense. They do manage to take 2 in pretty quick succession over on the other side, though. Goomy able to sneak it past Fudgy. Fudgy able to fall back in time to be able to keep this going, but the triple take from Kainoob will keep the offense going. A big finish going to send it through again. A nice pass through from Snake, but they are going to be able to block it away. Good job by Grimella to cover the defense there. Drew now taking it away on towards the other side. Will get cleared up towards the top. Snake takes another shot, gets it to Grimella, gets it to Drew. Grimella showing up with the piercing shot not going to be able to take it into the goal, but a nice opportunity. A good collapse coming through from the rest of the team. Grimella keeping it on towards this side of the map. Drew not able to get the strike in, but there was a shot there to be able to take it all the way home. Now a flip coming out of Kainoop, sending it down towards the bottom. Fudgy going to be able to fend that one away yet again. Snake takes the shot up towards the top, and it will be 2-1 for Demons RAAAAHH.
I really like that firewall sentry placement by Goomy there, recognizing that the rebound from those sound waves would send it straight into the turret and keep the offense alive, rather than feeling forced to find a more direct angle. But that said, they are rewarded by their team play. But going into this next point, one thing I've taken a note of that I've really liked from Grimella as well is that when they are using this secondary, the Rose Warp, they usually keep themselves in position to strike thereafter. That way, just in case the core would go haywire, they maintain full possession and control. They're obviously not working out as the chaos ensues, but just one thing to look out for with this possession.
Really good stuff there, taking advantage of the ricochets. Drew's going to be able to take that second barrier and going to be able to give a faint lead on this point to Bang Bang. There's going to be the flip coming through from Fudgy. Puts it up in front of the goal. Grimella comes through yet again. Can't get it through with the Crystal Thorns. Big finish going to block it for a time, but Drew pushes it past and takes us to point number 5.
Normally, when you see the Finny ultimate and you're on the offense trying to get through it, if you don't have that second button, you want to shoot it up or down to try to at least keep it in the general vector of where you are. But there, Drew just sends it straight at them, and straight into their goal it goes, as now it looks like it might be going around.
Yeah, there's going to be a really quick double barrier yet again. Demons have been able to find this so consistently on this map in this game. The flip from Kainoop, and it's just unrelenting. The big finish gonna stagger too. And Grimella trying to fall back and help out with the defense. Will be able to clear it out. Glitch Pop doesn't quite put it through, and Drew is able to clear it out. Able to find the double barrier, but it's a double KO yet again. Grimella now in the position Fudgy was in earlier, trying to hang on, trying to get the respawns, but Goomy's already there, and it's into the goal for the set win to Demons RAAAAHH. They are on match point set-wise.
They are finding the damage they need to set up these power plays. We saw the last 3v1 go a little funny, but this one was just pure execution, both of their enemies and of their gameplay. That said, let's take a look at this draft here. We've got the stagger going to the side of Kainoop, a little extra speed. They've been walking up quite a bit. Finny already having some high base speed. This is going to give them a little bit more to work with. Explosive entrance. We saw how well it worked in the last series. We'll have to see if it continues to work here. It wasn't even the last series, it was the last game, rather. 1-2 punch being denied. The Reptile Remedy giving a little bit of extra survivability, but now this is going to be a big X that you have to deal with. With heavy impact coming through, perhaps that can turn the tide on this damage exchange, but it's certainly looking like you're going to have to be careful if you're the side of Bang Bang here against this draft. That said, the net's already open.
Again, just so rapidly able to find these. A nice KO, though, found onto Kainoop, and will give an opportunity here over to the Bang Bang squad. They found the first point in both of the sets so far, and going to see if they can replicate that here. The pass back from Grimella gets it right in for Drew. 3 for 3 on the first kickoff points to Bang Bang.
Big points secured here, and that collapse was really tough because you had the Arrow Beam covering one lane, the Estelle covering the out clear, and just people left and right to have to then get the core through should you survive all of that. So a great collapse there by the side of Bang Bang. But that said, you need more than 1 point to get out of this series. You're going to need a lot. But if things keep up the way they're going, the net's open, but there's opportunities arising.
Absolutely here. They do manage to open up the net on the other side. Really nicely placed triple take there from Kainoop. Going to be able to keep the offense going. Goomy advances forward. Not quite able to get the flip going, but he gets another reset. Flips it away. Blocked away by Fudgy Waffles. Yet again, the Glitch Pop trying to keep that trade going. But Drew trying to disrupt him now. Hitting him with the barrier beam. Getting a little bit of that damage on a cross. Fudgy falling back. Needs to pass it down to keep it away from Snake. Glitch Pop nearly sent it into the goal there. They do manage to evade that one. Big finish. Going to be taking control over the core. Going to be sending it back over to Grimella, who fends it back away. Goomy keeping it into this bottom corner, using the sentry turret, but still won't be able to send it in. Pass down to Goomy. Grimella going to send it forward yet again. Drew looking for his chance to be able to launch forward and get that strike into the goal. Falling back over to Snake now. Fudgy has access to the flip, might need to use it soon. Channels up that magical maelstrom, and now it's into Drew's hands. Grimella falling back at midfield, sends it to the bottom corner, and it's going to be another flip from Fudgy. Counter flip from Kainoop back over to Snake, who just can't get the strike yet. Grimella going to be the one holding it at midfield, and it's just flying all around the map here. Goomy trying to chase after it, and there's the shot from midfield. Snake finds an empty goal and finds a score for Demons RAAAAHH.
Ooh, a lot of back and forth there as the goalie and the midfield had both walked up to cover the side lanes that left it wide open for Snake in the middle, who great positioning there to make the most of it, but a not so great flip here as they don't manage to connect with the bull rush, instead having to rely on a later strike, but Snake sending it potentially the wrong way there. But it looks like with this power play coming to life, they'll have a little bit more leeway. But Fudgy Waffles getting a little beat up here, even with those pauldrons to help stay alive, and the little bit of stagger that they do have. You got to be careful here. These Maelstroms not able to secure kills either, so it's a lot of resources burned.
Absolutely here. You managed to find one of the barriers. Grimella coming in towards the bottom. Drew going to be able to take it in for the second one. A young upstart team, new to the league this season, looking to try to fight their way back into this series. This could be their last set in the winner's side bracket. Drew taking it down towards the bottom. The triple take going to actually send it in the wrong direction there. Kainoob not able to keep the offense going. Fudgy resetting up towards the top. Fudgy's been KO'd, and now it's a 2 versus 3, but they're not done with the offense. There's the Rose Warp. There's the shot from Grimella, taking it up 2-1. Bang, bang, looking to hold on.
We mentioned that mastery of the Rose Warp earlier, getting a good flip timing to where the projectile does not eat the flip and giving him the full force 50-50 onto Kainoob. Very difficult position, but Goomy looking a little bit glued to the edge of the stage here. I don't know if this is a control issue or what it may be, but it will lead to their death. And now Kainoob has this flip to help survive, but Snake's got to come back as now this power play is not going in their favor, but they have managed to survive so far. We'll have to see if with Goomy coming back, whether or not they can turn the tides.
Wow, Drew just going for the flip and the dash forward while inside the big finish to be able to just force it in to get that first barrier, but now the offense is going over towards the Demons RAAAAHH side. Snake managing to get it back behind the barrier, but Grimella snipes it away with the Rose Warp, a chance to be able to open up the goal. They're not able to capitalize though, and Snake just marching it down with the X Maximus on the other side. Does come on in there with the Bringer, but is not going to be able to take it into the goal. Grimella with another nicely placed Rose Thorns, not going to be enough, and it's going to be Goomy sending it in. We are going to 0.5 for what feels like the upteenth time today, Dendar, and a chance for Demons RAAAAHH to win it here.
A 0.5, but will we see a third or fourth round rather, as we are getting into this game? One barrier taken each side. Flip was available for Fudgy Waffles, but it's already been burned. I feel like that last point was such a difficult point to lose because it looked fairly free to save, but there's a lot going on in the minds of these players as they have to suffer through the offense and the defense of both teams. The net is open.
Net is open. Snake just waiting for it inside the goal arc. They need to be able to get back control on the side of Bang Bang if they want to be able to hang on towards their winner's side bracket lives. Snake clearing Grimella back out towards the other side. Fudgy trying to hold on to it, sends out the magical Maelstrom. The big finish, going to send it back through. No block available. Kainoob finds the goal. Demons RAAAAHH 3-0 in Game 2. 6-0 in the series. Will move on to face the Sad Boys in the winner's final next week.
No guard on that attempt and no chances of retribution here as Demons RAAAAHH secure their spot. Like you said, going to be against Sad Boys next week. That said, that's going to be an exciting game, but let's talk about the one we just watched. Let's take a look at these stats. We've got Goomy putting on quite a bit of damage on that IME midfield. Kainoob doing some as well, but it's actually Snake who is top damage here. Perhaps that amplification from Kainoob padding those stats just a little bit, but with how much pressure they were able to mount, it just goes to show that they can put that damage to good use. That said, redirects, however, 176 on Kainoob and then 127 on Fudgy Waffles. Kainoob had more redirects, which normally would be a telling that they were on the defensive, but here we saw them walk up time and time again and really put on a good performance, showing that goalies can get that offensive mastery just by walking up and being a presence on the pitch, so great job to them. That said, the unorthodox pick of that era goalie didn't quite work out this time, but honestly, it looked good on the offense. It's just sometimes on that defense, it's so tough to deal with, especially against players of this caliber.
Yeah, it absolutely is there, and that is a 12-0 winners semis today, Dendar. Every single set won by either the Sad Boys or Demons RAAAAHH. in our whole block here. So that is an exciting winners final for next week. These two teams, everything old is new again. It is Sad Boys versus Demons RAAAAHH, the North American Strikers League Classic.